Hello, and welcome to episode number 9 of Driftless Knitting. My name is Jennifer. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Driftless Knitter, and you can find the podcast group on Ravelry as Driftless Knitting. And I would love it if you guys came by and joined the group. I'd also love it if you subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. If you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're an old viewer who's been watching all 8 and now 9 episodes of this podcast, thank you so much for coming back. I'm just so grateful for each and every one of you. So first and foremost, I have to apologize. I'm slightly under the weather. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, you'll recognize that because I posted about a week ago today that I was starting to feel a little ill, and that cold has kind of stuck around me for the last week. As much as I've been sleeping and just relaxing, the stuffy nose and the congestion, and I'm a little, kind of just tired, it stuck around. So I'm trying to nip that in the bud. I've got some echinacea tea here in one of my favorite mugs. This is how I roll with the knitting needles and the balls of yarn and everything. This was given to me as a Christmas present from one of my best friends from high school, Missy, and I love it. I always joke that I'm like a thug knitter. This is how I roll. Sorry. So I've got some hot tea that I'm sipping on. If I cough or need to blow my nose, hopefully I'll be able to edit that out. If not, gross, I apologize. But yeah, that's the state of things right now. But I didn't not want to podcast this week. I am doing my giveaway, which is so exciting, and my first ever giveaway, and I have some kind of updates to show you guys, and a few new things that have, come into my life, not yarn, other really fun things. And yeah, I just didn't want to let this week slip by me, because then next week I'm gonna, just have way too much to talk about, and you guys would probably be disappointed not to find out who won the beautiful, beautiful yarn by Three Sisters Fiber Company. So, but I'll get to that later. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about my weekend. My weekend was very busy. I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the shop, as well as the rest of the week, but that consisted of the weekend. We were celebrating our 6th anniversary as a yarn shop being open in Winona, so that was really, really fun. We were doing a little giveaway for you could get a free glass of wine at a couple of our favorite little restaurants and cafes, and we debuted our brand new special yarn that Lisa from Three Sisters Fiber Company dyed, and that is exclusively available at Yarnology, and I'll show you that in just a second. But it was also the Art Walk in Winona, which is a huge kind of citywide craft and art sale. There's different stores and galleries that participate, and they sell obviously artwork, but then also we had a fiber artist. Obviously we're all fiber artists at Yarnology, but she felts different pieces. She felt scarves, these really cool lock with like sheep's locks dyed and kind of felted together to make these really cool scarves and necklaces. She felt hats and just some beautiful, very unique and artistic pieces, which was really, really fun. And we had her up in the front of the shop for people to kind of shop her wares and then come further in and shop what we had. So that was really cool. And I want to say, I don't know how many places total were involved in the art walk, but there's always at least a dozen, if not more. And it's just a really fun energy. You just get these crowds of people that come in, and it was great. It was really fun. And there was also a couple other craft sales. Winona does a craft sale called Handmade Neighborhood, where it's all handmade jewelry or pottery, soaps, just all sorts of things. They have a pretty good mix. Photographers have their, pictures and different things there, and that's always really, really fun. So yeah, it was just a great weekend, full of energy, and it kind of stinks that I was feeling sick because I don't think I was able to fully enjoy it, but I still got all, excited and hyped up on the energy. I think I coasted on that, on everyone else's energy as mine started kind of going down by the end of the day on Saturday. I coasted on everyone else's energy. So, but I'm going to show you Lisa's yarn. I have it knit up here. Unfortunately, my pattern that I've been teasing you about and promising is not finished, but it will be. I'm thinking later this week. I just wasn't able to get it done with feeling sick and just having the busy weekend. I really didn't get too much knitting time, and my project by now has like almost 400 stitches on it. It's a shawl. If I didn't mention that before, I think I did in previous episodes. I'm designing a shawl to go along with Lisa's specialty hand-dyed yarn. So let me show you that quick. Sorry, I'm going to sneak in a quick sip of tea. I don't want to spill anything. Okay, so that is down here. I'm not going to show you the shawl yet because obviously the pattern isn't released, but I'm just going to kind of gather it up in my hands and show you what the yarn looks like. So, and apologies for the lighting. It's super gray and dark here today in La Crescent, Minnesota, and typical November day, which I'm okay with, but yeah, the lighting's not going to be great. So this is Lisa's new yarn, and it is called Frozen Leaves, and it's based on a photograph by Cynthia Porter, who is a Winona resident. She works for the city at Visit Winona, and she works for one of the newspapers in Winona, and she just has some beautiful photography. I'll put her name at the bottom of the screen with her, I believe she has a Facebook page if you wanted to go and look at more of her photographs. And actually, I'm going to try and insert a photo here of the photograph that this yarn is based on. So, yeah. I mean, isn't that just gorgeous? The background obviously is like a cream, but then it also has some silvery bits to it. There's, this burnt orange and brown and tan. It's just gorgeous. If you want to see what the yarn looks like in the hank before it's knit up, you can go to my Instagram, which is Driftless Knitter, and I have a picture of the yarn in the shelving unit that we had it displayed in over the weekend. And this yarn is still available. It's available until we run out. We probably have about half the skein sold of this, which is the fingering weight, merino, cashmere, and nylon blend. And this hank, this is 600 yards. So I have a little bit left, obviously, to finish the shawl, but I mean, that's a huge skein. Like most fingering weights come in like 400 or 420 or something like that. This is 600 yards. For the price, it's just amazing. So yeah, you should definitely check that out. If you're not local and you absolutely fall in love with it, you can call the shop. We send packages out every once in a while, and so if you called the shop and we did like a transaction over the phone, you'd be able to have this sent to you. And I'll maybe put Yarnology's phone number at the bottom of the screen too, so that you can do that if you so wish. We have the fingering weight, we have the worsted weight, which is just a merino superwash, and we have a chunky weight, which is gorgeous. I love knitting with fingering weight, and that chunky yarn is just so tempting. I think it's gorgeous. That's coming from a sock yarn fanatic, so take my word for it. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm just so excited that this yarn finally got to be debuted. We've been working on it for the last few months. We picked the photograph. Lisa started doing some test dyeing. We kind of got to look at a few different types of dyeing that she was doing and, you know, say, oh, maybe a little more of this or a little more of that. And she kind of did her magic, and voila, gorgeous, unbelievable hand-dyed yarn from Three Sisters Fiber Company. And she has an Instagram too. You should go check her out at Three Sisters Fiber MN, and then that's her website too. So you can shop all of her gorgeous yarns. That one isn't available in her online shop, but she has some other beautiful, beautiful yarns up there. So yeah, you should go check that out. So like I said, I'm really hoping to get my shawl pattern debuted and published later this week. I just have the border to do on it, which is actually pretty extensive border. It's like 40 rows or so it might take me a few days. Now I'm thinking about that, I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I can get that done and published and photographed, you know, I mean, not just the knitting part, but the whole putting the pattern together by the end of the week. I really hope so. With the holiday coming, maybe that'll give me, I do have Thursday and Friday, actually I have the whole weekend off, so yeah, fingers crossed. I'll have a new pattern published by the end of this week. So yay! Watch my Instagram, watch my Ravelry, because I'll announce it on there. But yeah, so stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Okay, on to some works in progress. I don't have too many going because that I just showed you was a major work in progress this week. It was the main thing that I worked on. Like I said, it's getting huge. I've used up almost all of the 600 yards gained, so it's big shawl. But I did start another pair of mittens yesterday, so let me show you those. And this is the same pattern that I talked about last week, and it's the Snow Country felt mittens, and it's a Fiber Trends pattern, and I'm knitting them in shepherd's wool, which is a worsted weight 100% merino wool, feltable, obviously. These are going to be felted mittens, and that's why they're so big. Let me put this one on. I don't have a thumb on it yet, but yeah, they'll be felted, so they'll be smaller and waterproof and windproof, hopefully. So, and these are for my friend Elizabeth to give to a couple of her friends. They are going to be Christmas presents for her. And this is the second one. I just started the second one. Actually started the cuff last night, but I knit a little bit on it this morning. And they take no time at all. Like I said, I started this one yesterday when I was hanging out with Carolyn from Chain 344 podcast. Hi, Carolyn. And Lisa from Three Sisters Fiber Company. We had a knit day yesterday, so how's the lighting on that? It's okay. You can see it's like a gray and black tweed knit, and when it felts up, it'll look very tweedy, which I really like. So this will I'll probably finish this today and get the thumbs on both of them by the end of the day, I hope. So, oh, one other thing I was going to talk about that I forgot to mention last week, sorry. Another thing that I really like about this pattern is that you do some short rows on the mittens so that there's a right and left glove. Does that make sense? So this is the right glove, and you knit more on the side with like the back of the hand. You do short rows so that there's more knitting on this side, so it almost like curves, and you have room for your knuckles in there. So it's not a straight mitten necessarily. And I like that because you can see, like the thumb is different too on the right and left mitten. You put the thumb in different spots so that they're, you know, right for the respective hand. But they also gives you a little bit of, you know, kind of just a indent there where your knuckles can go. So I really like that about this pattern. It's very thoughtful of the designers. So that is my only work in progress besides my shawl. And after this, I'm going to be knitting a couple of little headbands for some little girls. Those will also go to my friend Elizabeth for Christmas presents. And then I'll get started on Christmas presents for my own family, and I only have like a month to do them in, but that's all right. I'll get it done somehow. It always turns out in the end, right? That's what I keep telling myself. And I don't have any finished objects. Like I said, my time has been primarily taken up with that shawl. Not finished yet, so next week, stay tuned for hopefully multiple finished objects. I'll show those to you. So a couple of just shout outs here. I know I mentioned her before, but I've recently caught up with the podcast Knittin' from the Mitten, and that's a podcast out of Michigan. She lives in Michigan, which is the Mitten State, which is really cute. How the name, like, yeah, anyway. And that's Tiffany. And I forgot to mention, or no, I did mention before that Tiffany dyes yarn, but you should really go on and look at her stuff. She has one colorway that I am just dying for, and it's her Christmas colorway, and it's called Vintage Christmas, and I am dying to buy that yarn for my Christmas Eve sock cast on. There's kind of a tradition with a couple different podcasters where they cast on a pair of socks on Christmas Eve, and it's like their Christmas socks, and then the rest, however long it takes them, to knit them, they remember, where they were when they cast it on, and it's, a special thing. So I really want to get some Christmas yarn for that. And when I saw she had Vintage Christmas in her shop, oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. It's obviously like, green and red and a little bit of white in there, but it's a deeper color combination, deeper colors of those. So she said it reminds her of the vintage, like, Christmas cards with those, kind of colors. And I totally saw it when she said that. I'm like, yes, the kids bundled up in Victorian clothing, like sledding or something, and, those, oh, yeah. So you should go check that out. She also has a winter colorway called Baby It's Cold Outside, which I love as well, because that's like one of my favorite winter, it's not really a Christmas carol, but Christmas songs. Yeah, I love that song. So when she debuted that one, I was like, oh, maybe I should do that one instead, but I don't know, a skein of Vintage Christmas might find its way into my mailbox, and I might cheat again on my yarn diet, but I haven't yet. So far, I have held off. But yeah, I want to get something special for a Christmas Eve cast on. It has to be Christmas themed yarn, right? That just makes sense. Anyway, enough of a tangent. I just wanted to say I was so enjoying her, catching up on her podcast, and can't wait until she has a new episode out. She usually does it weekly, so hopefully later this week she'll have a new one. And yeah, her yarns are just gorgeous, so you should go check her out. And her Etsy shop name is The Woolen Homestead, and so it's not Knitting from the Mitten, it's The Woolen Homestead, but it's the same, Tiffany does both. So I'll hopefully put the name of that too at the bottom. I'm going to try and be better about that. That and show notes. I have a friend, Carmen. Hi, Carmen. She was saying that I really need to do show notes because she has to go back and rewatch parts of it so that she sees what the pattern, or hears what the pattern name is, or designer or something like that. So I'm gonna try and be better about putting a list up on maybe the Ravelry group page under the episode title in the thread. Maybe make a thread for the episode and then put some notes on there. So stay tuned. We'll see how much time I have to do that before I publish this. But another thing I wanted to mention is it's not new. It's been going on for a couple years now, but it's the Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, and that's kind of a movement. I keep calling it a movement, but it's not really a movement. I don't know. It's just a group. It's not really a group either. I don't know. It's odd to explain. Okay, so on Ravelry, you might be noticing people that you follow have been posting these pictures of Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted, and it's kind of like a stock picture that you repost. and you, like, just say, you know, my yarn wish is I'd love a skein of, you know, indie dyed sock yarn. And then someone will go on there and say, okay, wish granted, I have an, you know, extra skein of this. Personal message me your address and I'll send it to you. And then the person who got their wish granted will go and grant a wish, find, you know, someone on that thread or on that hashtag that, you know, they can grant their wish. And so it's like a give and take. I granted 2 wishes this morning, which I think was really fun. This is my first year doing it, so I'm a little new. It took me a while to kind of scroll through and find wishes that haven't been granted because people are just on it. Like, there will be something posted 5 minutes ago and someone's like, I got you, I'll send you that, you know, oh, I have that, and yeah, it's fun. So I did find a couple wishes to grant, and one of those went to Annie, and her Instagram name is HKNT_. So I found out that that stands for Hand Knit and Things, and she has an Etsy shop under HKNT, and she makes bags and dyes yarn, and she lives out in California, so I thought that was cool. I did a little research on her, but I thought that was really cool, and so I'm going to send her a skein of indie dyed sock yarn, I think, and she didn't care which dyer or what colors or anything like that, so I had a couple kind of random skeins that I had acquired from various, you know, things, or yeah, just ones I know I'm not going to get to in a while, and I'm not 100% completely in love with them anymore, and so they're beautiful, don't get me wrong, so I'm going to send one to her. And then I also granted a wish for, oh, I'm going to say her name wrong, Eileen? She's from Norway, and I'm definitely going to pronounce her Instagram name wrong, so I'm not even going to try. I'll put it at the bottom of the screen. But she wanted a skein of Madelinetosh in any kind of speckly colorway. And I have a few skeins of a colorway for Madelinetosh that's very, very speckly. And I'm going to knit like a cardigan or something out of it, but I have an extra skein. They came in a batch of 4. And since I special ordered it from the shop, I got all 4 of them. But I don't think I'm going to need 4 skeins of like 400 yards of fingering weight. So I'm going to send one to her. And I think it's really cool. I'm sending a skein to Norway. And I know that Madelinetosh isn't as readily available over there. And so that makes me happy that I'm able to give someone something that they might not get their hands on. And something so beautiful as Madelinetosh. I love Madelinetosh. We don't carry Madelinetosh at Yarnology anymore. We've kind of switched it up and gone into some other kind of indie dyed lines of yarn. But I do love Madelinetosh, and I have quite a few skeins of her in my stash, so that's really fun. So yeah, go on there if you've never heard of Get Your Yarn Wishes Granted. Search the hashtag on Instagram, and you can scroll through all the different wishes that people have put out there. You can grant a few if you'd like to, or you can just, well, I mean, you don't really want to make a wish without granting a wish. It's kind of a give and take thing. So, yeah. So go on there and check it out. It's really fun. I did post a wish. So I granted 2, and I posted a wish for a nice, like, fabric project bag. I'm kind of running out. I have some works in progress, some languishing works in progress in some of my fun project bags, and I'm finding myself having to grab like some tote bags instead, or just putting it in my bigger knitting bag without its own little project bag, and then it gets tangled up. So I just thought it'd be nice to have a couple more you know, indie made project bags. So, or not a couple more, but another one. So that was my wish. And I haven't checked Instagram yet to see if anyone has granted it, but that's okay. It's still really fun, even if you don't necessarily get your wish granted. So yeah, go check that out. My next thing I want to talk about, I'm going a little out of order here. I have a couple acquisitions, some new things, some new friends, but they're not yarny friends. So I thought I'd put that kind of at the end, right before I did my giveaway, and show you those. So the first thing is something that I've been meaning to get for a long time, and now that I have a podcast, I definitely thought I needed a pair, and that is some sock blockers. And this is the size small. I have small feet. And these are made by Bryson, or Bryce Bun. It's a Bryson brand, if you know anything about notions. I have to order notions and stuff, so that's why I know that. But yeah, so these are sock blockers, and we sell these at Yarnology. Pretty much every podcaster that I watch has a pair of sock blockers of some sort, and when I was showing off my last sock that I made, I just was rewatching the podcast while I was editing it. Sorry about that noise. And realized how just like droopy it looked and like shapeless. So I'm like, yep, it's time to get a pair of sock blockers. If I'm going to be knitting socks and showing them off on the podcast, I want to show them off to the best of my ability, I guess. And yeah, so it was time to get a pair of sock blockers. And I like those because if I do, when I wash them, when I wash any pair, when I wash any pair of socks, I like how they are open, and so it'll have let them dry faster instead of having like plastic on the inside or something like that. I like how they're just kind of, the metal outline of the socks. That way the air will get through them a little easier and they'll dry faster. So I do like that. My second new purchase would be sorry, I'm bending over so much. The new edition of Making magazine. Oh, I'm so excited about this. So we get this at the shop at Yarnology. We carry these magazines, and this is number 2, volume 2, and it's called Fauna. And this is a collaboration, really. There's a lot of different people that have things in here, but it's edited by Carrie Bostick Hodge. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And I think she does the Matter books, which I also am in love with. I think I have Matter Volume 2. But it just has, published by Matter. So it just has some beautiful patterns, beautiful photographs. I'll find you something to look at. The thing that I really, really love about Making is that it isn't just knitting. It has, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that shawl. That is by Ashley, I forget her last name. She does the Woolful podcast, audio podcast. Ashley Yousling. And yeah, I love that. So it has knitting patterns, but then it also has like recipes. And that's a recipe for a fig pie. And it has sewing patterns. I don't sew. I think I mentioned that. The last thing I sewed was, I was like 10. But it has patterns in here that make me want to sew. Let me tell you that. In quilt, it's got beautiful articles about sheep farmers and makers, and I just love the photographs in here. It's gorgeous. I mean, I could sit here and just page through it and look at the pictures, and this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite pattern. And this is the dough cap. I think that's what it's called. And it's so cute. It's got the little ears on it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, dough cap. I just think that is adorable. And I really, really want to make one. I don't think that it would be, sorry, there was a little gnat or something. I don't think that it would be necessarily feminine. So I could make it for my nephew, right? Yeah. So I am really, really enjoying looking through this. I also have the first edition. Sorry, I'm still like paging through. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so pretty. I forgot about that. I have the first edition as well, number 1, and this is called Flora, and it's just beautiful. This one's a little smaller actually, but you know, it was their first one. And again, it has different crafts, recipes, you know, so it's not just making with yarn, it's making with, you know, oh, look at that little sweet cap. Can you tell I have like kids knitting on the brain? All these little kids in my life. I love it. Yeah, so it kind of just emphasizes making in general in every sense of the word, and I just love that. So I'm very excited. I haven't knit anything out of these yet. I'm kind of a knit book and magazine collector where I want to knit absolutely everything in it, but I have so much more, you know, in my queue, on my list, that they kind of just sit on my shelf for a while, and that's kind of a shame. I might try and do something next year where I like knit one pattern from, or start knitting one pattern from every book or magazine I have, just so that I can look through them again. I find that I forget what I have. I forget how many beautiful things are in, you know, one of my books that are sitting on the shelf. I admire them, you know, and admire the quantity and, oh, you know, I don't know, but I just forget how many beautiful things are really, you know, at my fingertips to make. So I'm gonna have a day where I just go through and you know, look at all my books. That actually sounds like perfect. That sounds like a wonderful day to me. So I'll have to do that. Yeah, so I'm really excited about those, and hopefully I'll get a chance to make something from one of those books. So yeah, go check that out if you can, or order it. I believe you can order it as well. It's cool. All right, so now what you've all been waiting for. It's giveaway time. So this is my first ever giveaway that I've done, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who participated. We have, I think, like over double the amount of people in the Ravelry group as we did before. We had 17 people comment on the thread and give the thing, you know, about the thing that they love the most about winter or fall or the holidays. And it was so fun reading all the answers. I agreed, and I'm like, yes, I totally love that too, you know, on pretty much everybody's answer. I wish I was able to respond to them, but, you know, I didn't want to like junk up the thread because I did a number generator, and so I would have had to like eliminate my answers, and I wanted to answer or reply to like every single person on there, so that just would have been way too crazy. So yeah, but just know I totally agree with all of your answers, and I did a random number generator before I started this podcast, so I didn't have to fiddle with anything. Let me remind you what you're winning. This is Fall on the Farm by Three Sisters Fiber Company. And it's a fingering weight, merino and nylon. It's absolutely insanely gorgeous. And I just wanted to let you guys know that you can buy Lisa's yarn online. So she has a website, and it's threesistersmn.com. I don't know, is that coming through clearly? And she has yarn up there. I'm not sure if she has any of this colorway right now. Lisa, you should dye more of this colorway because I've gotten great reaction to it. But she has some other really beautiful things that I love, and then I can let her know if there is interest in this colorway. I can let her know, and she maybe will be able to dye up some. She's been super busy with our Frozen Leaves colorway. I think that's been taking up most of her dyeing time, but now that that's pretty much, you know, she's finished dyeing, now we're selling it, maybe she can whip up a few more of these. So, all right, so the lucky winner of this was, drumroll, post number 13, which was Crafty Stockinette, and her name is Aretha, and she's from Detroit, Michigan. congratulations. I will personal message you, letting you know that you won, maybe tomorrow, so that if you wanted to watch this and be surprised, you could be. But I'll personal message you and get your address, and then I'll send this on its way to you. So I'm very, very excited for you. Congratulations, and I hope you just love this as much as I do. Seriously, I'm in love, and yeah, I hope you make something really special out of it. So thank you for participating. Thank you to everyone for participating. I want to do some more giveaways coming up. I want to do some knit-alongs, and I just love seeing people post, and yeah, just having all you guys participate. It's really fun. It makes podcasting, you know that people are actually watching and actually want to participate in what you are excited about too. So I was really, really happy with this one. Even though, I know some podcasters get like hundreds of post replies on their threads. But, you got to start somewhere, right? And I just love being able to connect with you guys. Even if it's only a handful of people out there, of knitters, it's still worth it. Any connection that you make in this world, or in the world in general, is worth it. So I love you all very much. And I think that just about does it for me today. I'm going to go sit on the couch because I'm pretty sure this has drained me of what little energy I had. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of my day off. I have some potato soup in the crock pot that I'm really, really excited about. That sounds like the perfect thing for someone who's a little ill. And I'll have more tea. I'll wrap a blanket around me. I'll do some more knitting, and I hope you guys do the same as well. I hope you don't feel ill, but I hope you have a cozy night in, doing what you love to do, whatever that may be. So from me here in Minnesota, happy knitting and happy stitching, and I can't wait to talk to you guys again. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe. Please join the Ravelry group. And I'll see you back here next week. Thank you so much. Bye.